Between 2015 and 2023, NASA satellites revealed a 290 cubic mile loss of freshwater on Earth. That is roughly 2.5 times the volume of Lake Erie. While 2.5 lakes might not seem like that much compared to the vastness of the world's oceans, it's important to note that only 1% of Earth's water is freshwater that we actually have access to. And that 1% is what we rely on for everything. Perhaps even more shocking, when you break it down even further, you'll find that 70% of all of that freshwater is used solely for agriculture. Luckily, food producers are taking notice of the decline in freshwater availability, and they're asking themselves, how can we grow food while using substantially less water than traditional agriculture? The answer is an open mind to innovation. This is Farming for the Future. One type of sustainable agriculture that's starting to pop up around the world is hydroponics. Hydroponics is the method of growing plants without soil. Yep, no soil. Instead, plants are grown in layers of peat mesh that hold the seeds in place. Then they are connected to a ceiling-mounted drip irrigation system that provides the plants with a nutrient-enriched water solution. Without soil to soak up the excess water, this setup maximizes water efficiency. Any unused water can then be collected at the bottom, where it is then recycled back into the system. Farm and Market is a restaurant and marketplace in Denver, Colorado that grows over half of their menu in-house thanks to their on-site hydroponics plant. Their customers can feel great about what they're eating, not only because the food is fresh, healthy, and delicious, but because the plates come with a super low water footprint.
Every time a neighbor comes in and buys a bag of lettuce, they save 35 gallons of water.
Though skeptics may criticize hydroponics for the high energy demand required to power the system's lights upward of 18 hours a day, hydroponics actually still boast a lower carbon footprint than the average farm.
Imagine a tractor that has to plow a field and all the gas it consumes to get that produce. Then you got to put it in a truck and you got to drive it, and so it's way less carbon emissions.
When you have the ability to situate a farm in the middle of a city using hydroponics, you can bridge the gap between the growing source and the customer and slash distribution emissions in the process. And though location doesn't completely dismiss the light's emissions, hydroponics farms have the option to source their electricity with clean energy. This could be solar panels, or in Farm and Market's case, paying extra for wind energy. Wind power, coupled with the capabilities of vertical farming, is what leads Davis to believe that hydroponics has a place in the future of self-sustaining cities.
We grow about 100,000 crops at any one time in 2,000 square feet. Some skyscrapers, the largest ones, their floors are about half an acre. With half an acre, you can grow a lot of produce, and you do a half an acre 80 times, you can start getting into self-sustaining cities.
So as the population of the Earth continues to grow, instead of chopping down more trees and depleting water sources for new farmland, let's think like Farm and Market and grow upwards instead. A system that's similar to hydroponics is aquaponics. Aquaponics combines the practice of growing fish and growing plants in a symbiotic ecosystem. On an aquaponics farm, fish fertilize the plants with their poop, and the plants purify the water so it can be returned back to the fish. By recirculating the water, aquaponics systems are able to grow food with 90% less water than the typical farm.
Because we use so much less water, it's much more feasible for the long term with not a lot of water supplies.
Plus, because the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides would harm the fish, aquaponics is inherently an organic practice, a win-win for the health of people and the planet. Aquaponics systems may seem complicated to start, but businesses like Emerge Aquaponics are making this innovative farming method more accessible than ever.
We've actually spent the last few years developing a specific system that you can reproduce anywhere in the world and that you can use materials found in country. So then when you're buying stuff and building it, you're boosting local economies. The thing that doesn't grow very well in aquaponics is like root vegetables like carrots or potatoes. But something really cool is even if you can't grow that in there, you could use the solid waste that you're taking out of the system to create really good fertilizer for root vegetables. So you could put that in another spot next to your greenhouse.
Aquaponics also offers farmers the option to sell mature fish for eating, adding just another source of income or food for their families and community. As soil-free farming methods like hydroponics and aquaponics transform how we grow food, another exciting solution emerging that combines agriculture with renewable energy is agrivoltaics.
Agrivoltaics is the coupling of agriculture with solar energy infrastructure. There's this idea of agrivoltaics being under an umbrella of dual use, where you have a solar array. Now you can do anything else with it. You can have a tennis court underneath it, you could have a beer garden, or you could do different types of agriculture. I see it more as an overall society win, when you can have multiple functions from one piece of land. Instead of just thinking this land is only for this, done. Now we say, okay, this piece of land can grow food, produce electricity. There's a lot of research going on our site. We have tours out there for school kids and community groups, and we're working on policy based on what we see out there.
And the benefits of solar panels go beyond increased land productivity and clean energy generation. By providing shade, the panels slow down evaporation, helping the soil retain more water so farmers don't need to use as much. Increased shade also protects farm workers from harmful UV rays, creating a more safe and comfortable work environment. Admittedly, installing solar panels comes at a significant cost up front. But as Byron points out, investing in solar energy today is an investment in the future of our food security.
A lot of people think of agrivoltaics as a means to just couple those two things together and grow food now. What I want people to think about is climate change. It's going to get hotter. Having shade on our ground that is functional, that we can use, is going to be very important for the agricultural industry in 50 or 60 years. And that's how long these solar arrays are going to be around for. And if you don't build it in the correct way now, our grandchildren aren't going to be able to use that space.
Considering the benefits of hydroponics, aquaponics, and agrivoltaics, it's important to remember that there is no perfect one-size-fits-all solution. The key is to choose a method that works best for your region, budget, and farming goals. It's not about being perfect, but it's about being better. If you're ready to start one of these systems yourself, don't be afraid to dive right in. The idea for Farm and Market started with a $40 DIY hydroponic system, proving that big ideas often start small.
I think people should know that they have the ability to create change in the world around them, and if they feel like helping with sustainable agriculture is the method they want to go, they can feel free to come volunteer with us or even look us up and figure out how they could do something similar.
We want to show through our nonprofit of helping to support certain community members of gaining access to solar arrays to see if it's possible of starting agribusinesses.
Come to Farm and Market. Help us be a part of changing the way food is grown and consumed in an urban environment.
Integrating these types of systems into our modern food system will help us conserve fresh water, preserve land, and lower carbon emissions from our diets, all of which will prove to be extremely important to address as we continue to face the impacts of climate change.